Chances are that you've probably already seen and heard those lo-fi playlists here on YouTube with the infamous Lofi Girl or Study Girl as their thumbnail and background. As a resident lo-fi poster girl, she was probably your companion to an all-nighter you pulled for a university assignment or a long overdue project, all while she did her own work on her never-ending journal in a quaint Miyazaki-like bedroom. Few YouTube characters are more recognizable and beloved than Lofi Girl, but did you know that she has her roots in a Ghibli movie? But what even is lo-fi music? Why did this girl become the poster child for its music? And what is the origin of this aesthetic that led it to become a digital phenomenon? All that lies ahead. While it's difficult to pinpoint exactly who coined the term, it is widely accepted that a DJ called William Berger was the original person to at least popularise the term, with his radio show of the same name. Lo-fi today stands for low fidelity, opposing the more common high fidelity. This refers to the sound and production quality of a musical piece. Music that was typically categorised as low fidelity would be considered of lesser quality and substandard in a professional context. All of the elements that make lo-fi popular now, from environmental interferences, degraded audio playback and mismatched notes, had virtually no appreciation back in the 1960s and was actually deemed undesirable by musical producers who were completely opposed to the genre. If you think current lo-fi music already sounds niche, that's because it started as that even back then. Lo-fi artists were outliers of an increasingly commercialized music scene. Often called bedroom musicians, they were a slew of amateur beatmakers on a shoestring budget. Professional recording studios were passed off for 8-track tape recorders or Sony Walkmans in their makeshift garages or kitchen studios. And so the sonic limitations and the unnatural distortions became the defining aesthetic of lo-fi music in the later decades of the 20th century. The mid-2000s is really what's responsible for lo-fi's renaissance. The variation really took off when Japanese music producer Ujabes, often touted as the father of lo-fi, redefined the sound for the popular anime Samurai Champloo back in 2004. Here, the scratchy punk rock sound was replaced with slower tempo varieties that mixed in influences from house, jazz and hip-hop in an elevator music but better makeover. When Samurai Champloo and Cowboy Bebop started airing in America through Toonami, the lo-fi genre became inextricably bound to the anime aesthetic and the nostalgia attached to it. An entire generation of people were influenced by the smooth beat and trippy or relaxing background aesthetic of early 2000s Adult Swim. It created a cross-section of people that enjoyed both anime and wavy hip-hop beats. Ujabes' lo-fi makeover has an immediate effect when one listens to it. Paired with classic anime visuals, the new chill wave uses nostalgia as a powerful aesthetic, invoking a sense of melancholy and bittersweetness that can have you daydreaming for hours on end. Ujabes unfortunately met with a tragic car accident in 2010, but his impact and contributions to lo-fi music are far-reaching, with many new lo-fi artists even citing him as their inspiration. These shows came before the childhood of modern anime lo-fi's main audience, listeners in their late teens to early 20s. The videos featuring their visuals accompanied by lo-fi music tend to evoke nostalgia for memories listeners don't actually possess. They imagine a time before high-quality produced music and computer-generated animations replaced fuzzy audio and hand-drawn images. There's something to be said about the romance of this DIY aesthetic and the vintage sense it produces. And this is where we cut to today, faced with an infinite loop of a tired anime girl, sitting in a picturesque Miyazaki bedroom, writing revisions into a notebook or reading a newspaper with a hot cup of coffee, or simply staring out of a lonely window on a rainy day. A very particular, very millennial breed of simmering down-tempo, pause through your laptop speakers. These ingredients are simple and remarkably consistent, and they add up to a new incarnation of internet radio titled Lo-Fi Hip-Hop Radio for studying, relaxing and gaming, or something of those sorts. Endless non-perishable YouTube streams that run 24/7, delivering the chillest, most amicable vibes to a legion of traumatized university students, like the perfect holistic alternative when the world just gets too much. Sometimes all you need to do is just trust the taste of an enterprising kid with a YouTube channel. And there are several of these channels, and they're all super popular. But the most prominent belongs to an anonymous figure known as Dimitri that originally started a channel named Chilled Cow. Chilled Cow was also the channel who first featured the studious anime girl as his calling card, which set up the aesthetic framework for the rest of the people operating in the genre. the girl we now know as the infamous Lofi Girl. On paper, the craft here isn't much different from someone throwing on an expertly curated playlist at a party. The streams don't require someone to be behind the boards at all times, unlike the constant monitoring demanded by traditional FM stations, but the music rotation is constantly updated with new hand-picked tunes, a stark contrast from the algorithmic mandates handed down by the likes of Spotify or Apple Music. Dimitri originally used the character Shizuku Tsukushima from the Studio Ghibli film Whisper of the Heart as the face of the channel, with footage of her studying or writing used in the streams. However, the popularity of the streams ultimately led to the channel being taken down for copyright violations. Dimitri decided he still wanted to maintain the Ghibli-esque aesthetic, but with an original character of his own, and put out a call for artists. Now, one of the artists who responded was a guy called Juan Pablo Machado. Originally from Colombia, Machado moved to Leon in 2013 to study at the Emile Cole Design School after a short stint at the art school of Bogota. In September of 2018, during his last year of his master's degree, he decided to respond to a call for tenders received by his school. The tender from Chilled Cow called for a student busy revising for her classes with Miyazaki-esque visuals. Machado, who was not previously familiar with lo-fi aesthetic, but he decided to send in his sketches nonetheless. Several positions were tested for the Lofi Girl, including a lying position, where at the end she will return to her initial position, but this did not carry over into the final product because it just took too long to animate. Due to budget restraints, the background was even originally plain black in order to save on that animation time, but Machado eventually decided to place Le Croix Rousse in the window instead. Fast forward to today, and the Lofi Girl has been so popular and had such an impact that Chilled Cow has since renamed their channel to just the Lofi Girl, and she's even garnered them over 10 million subscribers. She even has an official name now, Jade. Jade has surpassed meme status and is now a solidified point of popular culture. She's even been referenced in traditional media, like in Steven Universe Future, where Connie is depicted studying in the same pose and environment just as the Lofi Girl does herself. Will Smith has even published his own version, replacing the study girl with Smith wearing a Bel Air hoodie. Chilled Cow may have been the ones to start the Lofi Girl playlists on YouTube, but since then hundreds of alternatives have popped up with varying of success. People have been known to create a shared universe even, and lore between these characters. One particular offshoot of the Lofi Girl is the ever so popular Study Girl. Study Girl is another anime-inspired character on College Music's popular YouTube live page. For more than 50,000 continuous hours, beginning December 2018, she's been at her desk, hitting the book and chilling with some lo-fi tunes perfect to study to in a stream that runs on an endless loop. But although she's associated with soothing lo-fi beats, even Study Girl gets the blues sometimes. Back in May of 2019, Study Girl actually went missing for an entire week, leaving consistent viewers wondering what happened to their tranquil companion while they studied. College Music returned with a video a week later titled "What Happened to Our Study Girl?" As the 2-minute clip unfolds, we see Study Girl suddenly gripped with hopelessness and desperation. Suddenly seemingly out of control, she even contemplates taking her own life. Ultimately, she ends up finding the strength to press on, and we're told through the video, life can be tough at times, emotion can be overwhelming, and even lead to suicidal thoughts. Although it can feel very intense, it's important to remember these feelings will pass. Viewers are advised to find out what helped Study Girl, and may even help them by clicking on the link in the description. Doing so took users to a page on Vice that listed suicide prevention helplines and other resources. College Music's noticed a troubling trend there where viewers used its comment section to discuss their rising stress, depression, and even thoughts of suicide. This was most likely linked to exam seasons where students' call helplines typically spike. So, College Music decided to join with Vice and Samaritans to ultimately make a difference. With what initially started as a simple screenshot from Whisper of the Heart plastered over some nice lo-fi beats played on a loop has ultimately become an internet meme, a piece in popular culture, and now even a vessel for social impact. Who would have thought that it would get to the point where these Miyazaki-inspired lo-fi girls would actually be saving lives? So there you have it. Turns out the fuzzy, no-frills genre actually has a rich and pretty revolutionary history that goes beyond the typical lounge music. You go back as early as the 1960s, and lo-fi gave backyard musicians and garage bands a medium to spread their tunes. Fast forward to the 2000s, and Nujabes is largely credited as a trigger to the lo-fi aesthetic we now know and love. And his legacy will live on eternally within the community, inspiring other imperfect and fragmented works out there, just like these infinitely looped playlists that created the infamous lo-fi girls and the variations of. If you would like to learn more about the origins of lo-fi, specifically from the music aspect, you can view all the sources down below in the description. While you're down there, don't forget to subscribe, and you can follow us on Twitter linked as well. This has been Anime Every Day, and we'll see you in the next video.